The most important thing, if someone's looking to support someone who's been through miscarriage, is to really recognize what that women, those parents, what that family is going through. And it's better to say something to recognize what has happened than to try, and it become the elephant in the room. I think it's better to really just be open and honest. And even if you're not sure what to say, just say, I'm not sure what to say, but I recognize that this is really, difficult, sad time for you. How can I support you? And actually listening is just so important. I think sometimes it's that human nature to feel like you want to say something or to feel like you need to make the situation better. And actually it's just important to be there for that person, to recognize what's happened, what they're going through. Again, use their language, and to listen and to be there for that person. And you don't necessarily need to say too much. You're not there to make it better. It's for that woman that needs to that grieving process and to go through what they need to go through to be able to kind of process and cope with what's happened and find their way. But as a friend or family member or someone supporting someone, you're just there to support them and to hold their hand or give them a cup of tea or have a cry with them, and do simple things like that, just to let your friend know that you're there for them.
Two words that I use quite a lot is compassionate curiosity, because in my experience, when people are kind of at home and they've assimilated the process a bit, they've got a few days or weeks down the line, and that can be a very kind of traumatic experience. Actually, people need to tell a story of the miscarriage, which always in my experience, nearly always begins way back. Maybe even when you met your partner and you decided to conceive. And the other thing that, and just with that kind of curiosity, that exactly as Kate says, just listening. But if you feel up for it, this isn't a prescription, but if you can, I think it's really helpful to ask questions, to be curious. Tell me about it, and what did it feel like, and what was your pregnancy like? And just as you would a pregnancy that ends in a live birth, women have been pregnant, and for a lot of people feel that they kind of share that rite of passage, but people don't ask the questions of pregnancies that end up in loss that they would with pregnancies that end up in live birth. And a lot of women just like to share that. People also quite often want to, not always, but a lot of women want to talk about the kind of visceral aspects of the loss and the birthing that they went through, whether it's even with an early miscarriage or a late miscarriage. They do need to talk through that trauma. And not everybody wants to hear that or ask about that. I don't want to hear about certain sort of things, things that make me uncomfortable. But if you do have the comfort and the courage to sit with your friend and say, tell me about the bleeding, tell me about the pain, how long did it go on for? I think a lot of people would really welcome that, because it's so silenced and shunned away, the kind of physical side of it as well, that women feel, we're made to feel shamed about having periods, for goodness sake. So if you can, I would really encourage you to let them speak all the details.
And I think also kind of going on from that as well is particularly thinking about those who've maybe experienced a late miscarriage. A lot of what we talk about obviously isn't about early miscarriage, but for those who experience maybe a later miscarriage or a stillborn baby, it's also asking about the baby, asking the baby's name, asking the gender, what did the baby look like, as well is really important. So definitely, if you're supporting someone who is later on kind of getting onto the second half of the pregnancy, it is to talk about the baby, because that woman is a mum and they want their baby to be remembered as their child, as their baby, and so it's having those conversations, definitely.